Welcome to another edition of the Heavy Duty Parts Report. This is a live broadcast. My name is Jamie Irvin and I'm your host. And today we're talking about how iTRG is going to support independent heavy-duty truck repair shop owners in 2021 and beyond. I'm really excited about today's conversation because we are going to focus on this very important segment of the commercial vehicle maintenance and repair industry. Without these independents working with fleets and vocational fleets and independent owner operators, our industry just wouldn't be the same. And so in order for us to really have a good conversation about this, I wanted to bring someone on who not only represents iTRG, but who lives this, who owns his own repair shop himself. And this is really going to give us some insight into what it's like for repair shop owners right now. What are some of the things they need? What are some of the things that they could use some help with? And we're going to talk about that. So I'd like to introduce you to Buck Monson from iTRG. Buck, welcome to our program today.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for having me.
So if people want to comment today and participate in our conversation, Buck, all they have to do is submit a comment just like this. We can bring it in. So by all means, if you have a comment or you want to ask a question, Buck and I are happy to try to answer any questions you have or respond to any comments. We want you, our audience, part of the conversation. So Buck, let's just start off with the independent truck repair group. For those who don't know, what is it? What function does it play on behalf of independent truck repair shop owners?
Well, I think independent truck repair group, it's about bringing all the truck repair shops together. We're going to give the training, owners training and stuff like that. We want to let these shops know that we're not alone. You know, there's a network. We're together, and by coming together, just things run so much better. So
it's so true, right? I mean, when you're an independent business owner, you can feel like you're out there on an island by yourself. You don't have the big budgets of the companies that you're maybe competing with head to head. So I think of repair shops, the ones that I've served over the years. These are family men, heart and soul kind of guys. They've put everything on the line to be able to start a repair shop and try to provide a really high quality service to the local market that they serve. And they're competing maybe with, a truck repair shop that is backed by Peterbilt or Kenworth or Volvo Mac or one of these big, massive truck OEs. And so one thing that I found when I was talking to them is they said, look, repair technicians that work at the truck dealerships, they have access to all kinds of resources. They have ongoing training programs and all these resources available to them. As independents, we don't have those same resources. So you've identified training as one of the kind of core areas that iTRG can really support independence. Is there a specific reason that you focused on training beyond what I just said? Is there any other aspects to it that we need to know about what kind of training you provide?
Well, I think, even the dealers struggle a little bit too, because the technology is advancing pretty fast and stuff. So in the independent side, we have that same problem. And so you're right. When I had to work on a truck and stuff and I didn't know where to go, I didn't know who to call, and you just spend hours and you waste time and you don't get to see your family because you stayed late to try to figure it out. You put 10 hours on the job and maybe only bill 2 because now you know what's wrong with the darn thing, and now you've learned something. So there's easier ways now. There's easier ways. It's networking. It's belonging to iTRG. It's about giving that call. We've got Tech Talk now. Just call them and they just walk you through it. Whatever you need, they'll get online with you, right with the truck, tell you, help you get what's going on with it and get it fixed and out the door and get home to your wives.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you touch on such a good point. Independent business owners, they're families. They're family men and women. They have a lot on their plate, right? They have to manage a business. They're trying to provide employment for their employees, provide great service for their customers. And at the end of the day, they're trying to find a little bit of time and energy for their families, their children, and maybe once in a blue moon, do something they actually like to do, right?
Yeah, they're exhausted. I remember, I tell you a story here, but I was about 2 years into my business, and my better half said, "Why don't you find a real job?"
Oh,
that hurts. So And that's when I realized I needed some help. So I needed consulting. I need to go out there and start finding some. And that's what we did. I went out there and I got some consulting, but within the consulting, which really helped, but 80% of it is finding other truck shops out there. And we got to talking because now we're friends and stuff. Matter of fact, we got an old core group and we're really tight, and it helps so much. One phone call does it all. And now I'm able to do the things that I'm able to do. Freedom. I got freedom. I have to come back when the snow hits hard, and we all gotta get going. But I'll be honest with you, I'm doing real well. I'm happy.
That's great, and I think that's so important to have that support network. When I've been a business owner. I had a contracting business from '09. I sold it in 2016. I know that feeling of everything being on your shoulders. I'm a business owner again now with my consulting business, and it's the same thing. I've got employees. I've got all that responsibility, and if you can have those people that you can reach out to and talk to and be part of a group, it really does help you. When I compare that to the years that I worked for big corporations, for example, when I worked at Truck Pro, we had 157 branch managers we could phone. Like, what a massive network. I mean, there wasn't anything really that would come down that we couldn't figure out internally. And if we couldn't figure it out internally, we could phone our suppliers. So we had this massive network, and I always appreciated that. But when you're on your own, if you don't proactively build it, or if you don't join a group like iTRG, then it can be really tough.
Yeah, we was down in Texas, and we was doing an internal meeting there because of the COVID and stuff. But there was a truck shop owner. He's probably behind a little bit on probably some taxes, some other things. And he came up just to see us, and he come up in that room, and he's frustrated. You can just see it in him. But we sit there and listen to him, and I got to sit there listening to him. And I start looking around the room, and I said, this man is talking to a group of people. They're talking to a guy who opened up 130 truck shops. 130 truck shops. He's talking to them one-on-one. And you got a Facebook media guy. You got a tech talk guy there. You got consulting guy, the master consulting, the guy who hires people to help fill your positions in your shop. They were all listening to this one guy. And when I seen this going on, this was my dream. This is what independent truck shop's all about, helping that small guy. And they were all listening to him. These powerful people were listening to that one guy. And I tell you what, right then, if I had a mic, I could have just dropped it and walked out of the room, man. It was done. This guy was awesome. Ecstatic. He was texting me all the way home. I could see him driving home. He's texting me, thank you. And that's what it's all about right there. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So beyond training, I wanted to talk a little bit about 2021. Now, we all want to forget 2020. What a year with the pandemic hitting, but we're not out of it yet. So when you look forward in 2021, what are some of the challenges that independent truck repair shop owners are going to face? What are some of the challenges you're facing right now?
Well, first of all, the 2020, one thing I want to mention to you, I learned on that is that when the going gets tough, we got going. And I want to thank the truckers out there, really, to be honest with you, because they kissed their families goodbye. They got in their trucks and they moved that freight. They moved that freight without dinner. They moved that freight. Yeah, there it is. They did. They didn't have a place hardly to sleep. They had a place hardly not to eat. So we supplied showers and different things. I mean, we did it what it takes, and that freight still got moved. And then the truck repair shops, same thing. We was out there fixing them trucks. I have a better attendance this year or 2020 than I did any other year. They showed up, they wanted to work, and they got it done. So That's what I'm happy about that one. And if you're asking about what's going to go on in 2021, we're having problems with parts. I don't think it's the freight that's the problem. It's the manufacturing of the parts and getting them here, maybe across the seas or however that may be going. But so there's one part out there. So here you are, you're trying to find this one part, but everybody wants that one part. So you got to get it before everybody else. But one of the nice things about networking and what we're doing, especially if we get the software going like we like to do and stuff, we like to be able to look at all independent truck repair shops, not just your dealers and different things like that. But can you imagine having one of your friends in a network group that has that part, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and nobody else got one? There you go. That puts you ahead of everybody else.
Boy, does it ever. And yeah, I've been talking to manufacturers, and there is supply chain issues. And actually, it starts with raw materials, right? So
Yes.
with the lockdowns and whatnot, it put us so far behind on raw materials that some of the manufacturing plants are just sitting with entire production lines idle because they've got no raw materials to start manufacturing the things that they manufacture. Then you've got the issue of, okay, we had big gaps of 6 weeks, 8 weeks where maybe the container ships weren't moving. They've got
Right.
to, they've got to now go and try to fill all the demand. So they're way behind. So this is going to have a trickle down effect. So again, the strength of that group and that network is going to be really important in 2021, maybe even beyond that, 2022.
Yeah, I think the group that we was all in, we noticed the hit in the second quarter of 2020. We would definitely hit that hit, but I have to tell you, at the end of the year, we did better than we did the year before. There it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
together. So
Isn't that great though to like, I've always thought of the heavy duty truck industry as an industry that typically is filled with real salt of the earth kind of people. And I've just enjoyed immensely over 22, 23 years now, building long-term relationships with some pretty great people. And like you said, we are tougher than we realize. We've got more in us. We can get more done, in difficult times, sometimes more than we realize. And I think a lot of people have experienced that. And I'm glad that you have. I think that's really great.
yeah, yeah. I think another thing we kind of notice is, or kind of our great country is kind of being divided a little bit, and I don't think it's a good thing. And it's kind of proof that if you network as a truck shop owner and stuff like that, if you guys are really want to know what the secret sauce is, and the secret sauce is networking, that's it. It's not about keeping it to yourself. It's about giving it to others, because they're going to give you something that you don't know about.
Yeah. 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 I agree with that. I love the expression that your net worth is your network.
Yes.
And that couldn't be more true than today. And if we want to, without getting too political, but if we want to stay united, then we have to find that common ground, and we have to be willing to help each other. And if we can see others, in a light where it's like, look, I'm trying to help you, you're trying to help me, and we're trying to make a difference together. I mean, that's going to bring people together. And so it's great to see the work that you guys are doing at iTRG, bringing these independent repair shop owners together and under one membership, under one group, where you can all support each other. I think that's wonderful.
Well, thank you. It means a lot to me.
So when it comes to your day-to-day operations, I was just curious, like, what has kind of changed since the last time I talked to you, which was a few months ago? Have your systems for keeping your employees safe, have you adapted those recently, or has there been any change in operations, or are you kind of still working under the same criteria that you did just after the lockdown when I talked to you last?
Well, obviously, we didn't know what we was dealing with when it first happened, so we just kind of dealt with it as time goes on. But there were some guidelines that we had to follow and stuff like that. The glass, the smoking, the trucks and stuff like that. We did that, but I have to say, for the foremost, that we just pushed through it. We just pushed through it. It's just another day and another epidemic, and we just pushed through it.
Yeah, yeah. So have your employees really settled into the new routine then with the protocols? Like, are you seeing them kind of getting to a place where, hey, this is just the usual now, this is our new normal, everybody's using that expression, and they're just getting work done? Is that kind of what's happening?
Yeah, they really are. They're wearing the mask when it needed to be and stuff like that, when they're in the right distance and stuff like that to put the mask on. But I think the whole American people's pretty much doing it, or everybody sees doing it. You go into the restaurants, they're putting them on as they go to the table. I mean, we all kind of have that look at each other's at the grocery store. We look, we have that look, we know what we're thinking, but we wear the mask and we do the part.
Yeah.
I guess it's not a big deal, but if that's what it takes to move this great country, we'll just do it.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of look at it like a seatbelt. It's not the most comfortable thing to wear sometimes, but chances are it's gonna do something for me if I get into trouble. So why not? So, if people want to become members of the iTRG, what's the process to get signed up? Do they just go to your website and sign up there? Do they need to have a consultation? Like, how does that work?
Okay. So right now, if you guys go to the website and sign up, there's a minimum fee in there. If you want to belong inside the group, it's really minimum. It's just a little over $100 or something like that a month. And to really even to belong for that, even if you don't even use the darn thing, even that money can go towards helping somebody else. Can you imagine what that would do?
Yeah.
So belong in the group. And then what we'll do is we'll get to call you and get some information from you and stuff like this. And whatever you want to reveal to us is whatever we're going to be able to help you back with. So usually your stats pretty much tells you everything. There's a new thing called KPI. It's a big term now. It's out there, And
yeah, key performance indicators. That's what KPI stands for. Yeah.
And that's the hype word. And we look at all the different numbers and stuff, but we can see in an instant where you're struggling, and we won't share them if you don't want them shared or whatever, but we'll get back to you and we can sit there and say where your problem is right there. And we'll say, well, yeah, I feel that frustration. So, well, here's what we recommend if you'd like, and it's up to you.
That's great because it allows everybody to very easily join the group, and then from there it gives them a bit of customization for their specific needs. Now, you guys all, I'm sure, share some commonality and challenges, but to look at those specific KPIs for that individual's business and then have a group kind of behind them to help them move that forward, I mean, that is a powerful approach that's going to really help them. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. And we'll even come out to your shop. Some people say, look, man, I can't do it. I'm the consultant from a distance. We have to fly a long ways away to do it. We don't want that. I'm going to write a check. I don't care. Just come here, get my shop up and running. Yeah. And, that really helps a lot. And we've done that. And the guy called me back and says, thank you. That was awesome. Loved it. He made so much money after that month. Paid for the consultant coming out there easily and more.
Exactly. And then he's making nothing but money after that,
and
right?
Happy.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Thanks, Buck, for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you so much, Amy.
You've been watching the Heavy Duty Parts Report, a live edition, and I'm really glad that you were here today. Thank you so much for listening in and watching. I wanted to let you know that next week we're going to talk about product information, also known as data. We're going to talk about how it is going to fundamentally change the industry in the next few years. And we've got some friends of ours from OptiCat coming on. These people are really knowledgeable in this subject, and they're going to really help expand our viewpoint on that. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks again for tuning in. Head over to the Heavy Duty Parts Report.com and subscribe to our weekly email so you never miss out on any of our great content. Have a great weekend.